All right, let's just go with it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So you were saying that you feel like your ADHD is getting worse?
And I feel like I'm genuinely getting dumber. Like it scares me. Like today, for an example, I woke up to get cereal and I ate the cereal, was walking around my room doing stuff. I don't remember what I was doing, but I left the refrigerator open. And I do that almost every single day. And it's embarrassing because I don't want my roommates to just see how dumb I could really be and how much I forget. And I do
So
this kind of stuff all the time.
so it sounds like when you have an attentional problem, it sounds like you conflate or like you sort of lump that in with intelligence or stupidity.
Mm. Well, so like the thing is, even with your sentence that you just said, I dazed out, like I spaced out.
Okay, that's okay. So it sounds like when you space out, you think that that's like you feel stupid.
Yeah,
You feel
all
like
the
it's an
time.
I. Okay. Can I ask you how old you are?
25.
And have you've been diagnosed with ADHD or
Yeah,
ADD?
at 16.
How old? At 16. Okay. And you said you were on Adderall for a while?
Like 6 years.
And 6 years. So when were you first put on Adderall?
I was first put on Adderall at 16.
And is there a particular reason you stopped 3 years ago?
I had a heart virus, and the if I kept taking it, there was a higher risk of me getting the heart virus again. So I pretty much was told you can either take it and risk yourself dying, or you should stop taking it. So I stopped taking it, and uh, I don't know. I don't know if it was. I don't know. It was just it's weird to be off because I know what it's like to be on Adderall, and it was euphoric. Like I remember walking around feeling
Mhm.
having euphoric feelings, being like, "Oh my god, like this is the best feeling I've ever had in my life." Like the best feeling I ever had in my life was on Adderall, going to a doctor's office. Um, it was just, that was the best feeling I ever had, and
Okay.
I don't know. It's just weird to be off of it, and I just want to not. I like having ADHD. I think creatively it helps a lot, but I just want to try to be able to fix it and not think all the time of just 20 different things because my brain just goes everywhere, and it really is bad. Like me even just telling you the sentence, I'm thinking of the most random shit. Like I'm thinking of my friend's house drinking alcohol in July of like 2016 for no reason.
Okay. Can I just think for a second?
Hmm.
Okay. I'm just making a list of talking points. Okay. You feel like it's getting worse, right?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I just think it's harder for me to focus on things. I think like even just talking to my girlfriend, it's a lot of times I daze out. A lot of times, and it's not just because she's saying stuff that isn't interesting to me. Um, I can't focus on what she's trying to tell me, and she'll say something to me and be like, "Matt, I told you that 5 minutes ago," and I already forgot, and
Okay.
I hate that. I hate that I can't remember things. I hate that I can't focus on things. I hate that my brain is always everywhere. That I always have to get
Okay.
explained everything. It's horrible.
And what effect did the Adderall have on this stuff?
The Adderall didn't really necessarily make me um it didn't make me remember as I guess it did kind of make me remember more, but it just made me be able to focus more on what people are trying to say. So I was able to I could feel like the cogwheels turning as weird as it sounds, like in my brain.
Yeah, sure.
I felt I was able to listen to people a lot more, understand what they're trying to say, and want to talk to them more about stuff. When in ADHD
Okay.
nowadays, I just want to not listen to what people say and shut up and just sit there. And I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So, Mizkif, have you watched any of our streams before?
I tried to watch some of them, but then I
Okay.
started playing like other games or something.
Okay, no problem. So sometimes I talk to people about their feelings. In your case, I would like to talk to you about that, but I think that there are two different paths we can go. One is to talk about your experience of ADHD and also some amount of like how you hate it. and how I think by extension, maybe you hate or are frustrated with yourself for being this way.
Mm.
Right. So that's going to be like a little bit more emotional or personal. The other thing that we can talk about is like, what is ADD? Like what's happening in your mind, and what are the things that make whatever is happening in your mind worse or better? And what are the things that you can do to potentially like even improve it over time?
Is it weird if I go grab a piece of paper?
No, not at all.
I'll be back and grab a piece of paper.
Yeah, this is going to be a challenge because I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm an academic. And as academics, we like to talk really, really long. Like we just like to just keep going. So he's doing well. He's coping, managing. Okay.
What does an academic mean?
So I have a faculty position. So I teach. And I'm in my ivory tower. So I get in front of groups of people and I just open my mouth and I keep talking until they're all asleep.
Oh. So you're a teacher?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much part of the job.
Yes. Wait, which job?
Being a
Twitch
teacher?
streamer?
No, just talking until people fall asleep. Or an ASMR Twitch streamer. Either or.
Yeah.
I lost my pen. Who would have thought? I guess I can maybe my Twitch chat. I mean, I always learn better when I write.
Good. Let's talk about why that is.
I don't know.
Very good.
Like why you get so excited.
Very good observation.
Why'd you just get so excited about that? Is it just an interesting thing that I know about myself?
No, I think it's a very important principle that if we understand, you'll better understand how your mind works and how to get it to do the things that you want. It's a really important data point to know.
Okay. I also, if in terms of like things that make me remember more, colors. Like I like vibrant colors. I feel make me remember a lot more stuff.
Did you find a pen?
I have found a blue marker.
Okay. So looks like a crayon.
Yeah, maybe this thing won't work. I'm sorry if I'm like a waste of your time.
Pretty sure it's a crayon. I know because my kids have the same crayons. They have the little nub that lets them go up and down.
Okay, I found a pencil.
All right. Strong work. Okay. So I was going to say we can talk about like your feelings and what it's like to have ADD and your frustrations and things like that. Or we can talk about understanding what you mean by ADD, because I think it's more complicated than just ADD. So, or not complicated. There's a broader, it's not just an illness. Your mind is functioning in a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to learn how your mind works, or would you like to talk about the personal impact of having a mind that works like that?
The first one.
Okay. So help us understand what you mean by ADD.
When I think of ADD, I think of almost like if I could like draw it. Like, let's say this is what reality is, right? But for some reason, when I'm with ADHD, it's almost like, this is gonna sound so weird. This is how I really think of reality, where it's like, this is what reality is, but I go in such a trance of just thinking of other thoughts that my brain starts to go different ways, and I start really having a different I'm like, just talking to you right now, I'm thinking of the Cheetos guy. For what there's no Cheetos around me, but I just words, or I don't know why my brain goes this way, but I start thinking of other things.
Okay,
and
good.
Good
observation.
Yeah, this is how I would perceive like ADHD. I don't know.
Okay, that's very good. So that's something that we call a tangential kind of thought process, where your mind starts here and then it ends up going this way and this way and this way and this way. And by the end of it, you're like far away from where you started.
Mhm.
Right? So your mind, you notice that your experience of your mind tends to have like a lot of randomness to it.
Yeah, and I do like the randomness a lot because it's what makes me me. Like my friend Dave said to me one day, he said, you have the best word association I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's what makes me, I believe, in a lot of ways, funny. Where I will hear someone say a word, pick it out, and then think of an abstract thought which makes a joke. And they're like, wow, that was funny. Or, so I do like a part of my ADHD a lot.
Sure.
But a lot of it is, it sucks. Like I can't do basic things. I can do it. It's very difficult though to just like call my mom or really try to remember anything. It's painful.
Yes. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do is reframe ADD to something called a Vata mind. So Vata is the Sanskrit word for one of these things called the doshas, but I want you to think about it like the element of wind. Do you play RPGs?
No.
Okay. So you have like a mind that's like the wind.
Well, I play WoW.
So the wind, sure. So like, you know how there are like different elements, right? So like in different games, and then like elements have properties. So a wind mind is one that blows really hard in one direction. And then like the wind, it can kind of stop, right? There's a gust of wind and then there's nothing. And then sometimes the wind blows this way. Sometimes the wind blows that way. Sometimes it stops. Sometimes it starts again. That's kind of what your mind is like. It's like all these different gusts of wind. It's not like a mind like fire, which is sort of steady and stable and like burns in a consistent way. It's also not like water, which sort of flows consistently in a particular direction. It goes all over the place. Right?
Yeah, that's actually a good way. Yeah, I like that. That it's like wind.
So the first thing to understand is that each of these mind types is adaptive in some ways, but maladaptive in other ways. So Charles Darwin studied finches, which are little birds. And what he noticed is that they have different kinds of beaks. Some beaks are very like long and pointed, and some beaks are like short and powerful. And so long and pointed beaks aren't better or worse than short and powerful beaks. The long pointed beaks can like get into holes and like find caterpillars and stuff, whereas the short powerful beaks can like crunch seeds. With me?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is better?
They both are good.
Exactly. So the first thing to understand is that the Vata mind, your mind is good at some things and it's bad at other things.
Do you think that's with everybody, or do you think that's just with ADHD people?
No, I think it's with everyone. So fire minds have some strengths and weaknesses. Water minds have some strengths and weaknesses. Wind minds have some strengths and weaknesses. So your strength, and so this is the interesting, this is what I don't like about the pathology system. So when we say you have an illness, we miss out on the fact of something very important that you notice, which is that your mind is actually better than other people at some things. Like you're funnier, your word association is good, you're dynamic, you're actually a good entertainer because no one knows what they're going to get when they watch you on stream. It's probably instrumental to a lot of your success. And it is a big part of a lot of your failure. You see that?
Yes.
So we just have to understand that this is how your mind works. And there's some things you're going to be good at and some things you're going to be bad at. And the key to becoming successful is to understand, okay, what can we capitalize? What can we like support about the way that my mind is? And what do we need to like account for, or like kind of like what are the things that my mind sucks at and how do we make that better? With me? Okay. So the first thing is that generally speaking, your mind's ability to focus on one thing at a time changes over the course of your lifespan. Right? So like let's think about what's the difference between the mind of a 5-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 35-year-old. Let's start with 5 and 15. What's a 5-year-old's mind like?
Not strong. Or just
What do you mean?
Goo goo gaga. I mean, I don't know. They're
Yes.
pretty much
very
like how
good.
I am nowadays.
Yep. So what is that? Let's define that. Beautifully put.
They just will be thinking of something and then just think of something else and see something shiny and run away.
Absolutely, right? So their mind wanders a lot.
Mhm.
The attention of their mind is not focused on one thing for a long period of time.
Mhm.
So what changes when you're 15?
Instead of random things, it starts becoming
Hey
women's
Doc, I have
boobs.
severe Fortnite.
Sure. So there's more focus, right? And so like sometimes there are particular objects that your mind can retain its focus on. So you noticed another really important thing, which is that your mind's ability to focus is not the same. It can be subject dependent.
Mhm.
Right? So your mind can focus more if you are presented with the right stimulus, and can focus less if you're presented with another stimulus.
So what do you think mine is now that I'm 25? Is it just
Yeah, so we'll get there in a second. So then what's the difference between a 15-year-old and 25-year-old?
I guess I would probably say they're an adult now, they have work, they have responsibilities.
And so what does that mean for their mind? How does their mind work?
Instead of focusing on like all about, I would say it's probably more, if I had to describe it, I guess it's more water. Does that sound crazy?
Very good. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What does that mean though?
I like when you smile because I swear to God, you're a teacher, right?
Sure.
No teacher has ever smiled at me unless I'm getting kicked out of the class. Like they don't. I've never had a teacher that was like, oh, they enjoy. They were like proud that I said something.
That's shitty.
Well, I was always the class clown. Like I would say one joke to get kicked out. Like I knew I was going to get kicked out, but I would just say it anyway.
So Mizkif, you're good at this. So I don't know if you realize this, but like you're giving me answers which are not complicated explanations, but capture the essence of the answer. That's why I'm smiling. Because you can't put into words, but you fucking understand. Because when you say what is a 5-year-old's mind like, you stumble around with your words, which I think sometimes makes you feel stupid and makes other people maybe think that you're stupid. But then you do this. That captures a 5-year-old's mind. You see that?
Yeah.
And then when I ask you, I just introduced 30 seconds ago the concept of elements and mind. And you are already understanding that concept and bringing it back to me. A 25-year-old's mind is more like water. You have, in the span of 60 seconds, taken an entirely new concept, understood it, you can manipulate that information, and you can speak my language. This is the strength of a Vata mind. You learn incredibly fast. You can't focus on things for a long amount of time, but I can drop you in the middle of nowhere where you don't understand what the fuck is going on. You'll understand what's going on in 4 hours. Because your mind is so fast at accumulating information. Right? So a dynamic scenario is going to be good for your mind. What are you feeling? You look like you're feeling something.
I feel happy. I mean, I really do feel stupid all the time now. And for someone to say that I'm not dumb, it makes me feel a lot better. I just feel dumb. And
no, but do you get that? I'm just not saying that to be nice. Like, do you agree with what I'm saying? Like, do you understand how your mind is picking up new concepts and like using them in a very rapid way?
I don't think I'm dumb. I as a person, I know I could be smarter. I know I am genuinely a smart person. I wouldn't be where I am today if I was just dumb. You know, I obviously am smart in a lot of ways, and I know I understand things, but I just feel like that it's almost like a piece of me is turned off right now, and I really want to try to turn it back on. But what I just did to you is, I don't know if you've been noticing, I've actually been staring down, not looking at the screen, because I've been able to focus a lot more just staring at my keyboard, just literally trying to listen. And I think that's one thing I don't do enough at nowadays, and I think I just learned that with you, is I don't listen as much as I need to. Because when I listen, now I remember a lot of things.
Yes, so this is one of the points that I jotted down. So I want you to understand, your memory is not bad at all. It's your attention that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of people with ADD think they have bad memory. So like when you describe the fridge incident, You think I forgot, because English is like an unsophisticated language when it comes to the mind. You say, I forgot to close the door, which implies that it is a memory problem, because the word forget has to do with memory, right? But if we think about memory, memory is about reaching into like the library of your mind and pulling something out. That's not your problem. You can actually pull something out of your mind very easily. The problem is stuff doesn't go in.
Yeah.
So your mind doesn't process because it is distracted that the door is open in the first place.
That's exactly.
And what you're and what you're noticing now is that you've somehow, in the course of this conversation, figured out how to listen a little bit better. So what does that mean? That means that your attention is actually focused on what I'm saying, and therefore you are learning and getting the information in. Your problem is not one of memory, it's that the information doesn't come in.
That's true.
And so how are you listening to me now?
I am trying to just focus all on my hearing and just stare. I'm literally just staring at one keyboard or one key.
Good. So I asked you how, and what you're doing is focusing your attention on something sensory. And somehow by staring at a keyboard, my words are sinking in better.
Because there's no distractions.
Why aren't there distractions? Very good, Mizkif.
Because I'm looking at one specific thing. Like, for example, when I'm streaming, there's like 3 monitors, thousands of people in chat, donations, people trying to get my attention. When with you right now, it's just one keyboard, and then I'm just listening to you.
So, do you have ADD right now?
Yes, I still do.
Yes, absolutely. Is it affecting you the way that it does at other times?
No, not as much.
Beautiful. So that's something we have to understand, right? So the first thing to understand is that just because you have ADD, there are literally things that you can train yourself to do. There are also environmental things that you can do to influence your mind to do a better job at what you want it to. And you are actually doing that right now. So I'll tell you exactly what's going on. So normally your mind is 1,000 different things. You are focusing on one thing to keep all of the other things at bay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So your mind, by focusing it on one thing, which is like a piece of paper, your ability to listen to my words actually improves.
Yes.
And you're already Mizkif, you figured all this stuff out, bizarrely. It's great. And you've also noticed what is the circumstance that leads you to have a more ADD mind. You've already talked about it.
The circumstance that leads me to have a more ADD mind? Distractions?
Yes. Like what?
Chat?
Yes.
Right? If I'm out with anybody, like one place that I have ADD, this is going to sound weird, but I have ADHD more at grocery stores than I've ever had it in anywhere. And that's because I've noticed that if I'm trying to talk to my friend, there's 1,000 different things behind him that can grab my attention, because colors grab my attention a lot. There's 1,000 different things that can grab my attention. People talking, noises, and all those things. And they just, I am completely out of it when I'm at grocery stores or at like a Walmart or something like that. But
yes,
I feel like right here, if it's like it's a black keyboard, there's nothing else that's very stagnant, like what you said. I feel that I can talk and listen a lot more. And also, I feel like in general, I could speak better.
Yes, right? So good. So you're recognizing that there's some kinds of environments so your mind is prone to distraction. And so if you're in a high stimulus environment with a lot of different things coming at you, it's going to amplify your vata. It's going to increase your ADD. And if you're in a low stimulation environment, then your mind's ability to focus is going to be better, right? So I think, unfortunately, one of the bad things about our current society is that technology and the rapidity of technology trains your brain to not think about one thing, right? So Twitter teaches our brain to shift from one thought to another very, very rapidly.
Yes.
Reddit teaches our brain to shift from one thing to another very rapidly. So there's some interesting research about children and screen time. So people are wondering, like, what's the effect, or if kids watch like screens like iPad or YouTube or whatever, does it make them more prone to ADD? Because ADD is on the rise. And it turns out that it's not necessarily the screen, it's whether they watch something long form or short form.
Yeah.
So if you watch an episode of Sesame Street that's 30 minutes, that doesn't make them as ADD as watching YouTube videos that are 3 minutes long. Because your brain is training itself to shift its attention. Shift. And your environment with streaming and managing chat and stuff like that. So by the way, you're also good at that, right? Your mind can handle 3 different monitors, Twitch chat, donations, this, that. If you think about it, like some people's minds, whose minds are like water, have trouble with that. They're like, no, man, I just want to flow in one direction. And like, I can't fucking, like, I'm sort of like this. So I've trained my mind to, attend to this. And I find that like I do a really bad job. If I look at the donations and stuff, it completely derails me. So I have to like not look at chat, and I don't look at my viewer count, and I don't look at any of that, because if I start doing that, I lose my attention with you.
Yeah.
So there are some vulnerabilities that your mind has. And if you account for your vulnerabilities, it's going to do a better job. So technology is going to make your mind more vata, is going to make your ADD worse.
Yeah. Oh, 100% it does. Like I've noticed that. I've tried to stop looking at socials and stuff like that because it's, and also just constantly trying to, like, something that I do a lot is I'll open Google, look at something, close Google, go to a game, open Google, do something. I won't even realize I did it. Like, it just comes naturally. I don't even mean to do it. And I've been trying to. It's not easy, and
it's very hard.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that way less, or scrolling through Twitter, Instagram. I never look at it. But
so I want to point something out to you. So like the cool thing is that you may be able to stare at objects to help keep your attention focused, right? So what you're doing is actually something called a dharana, which is actually a meditation technique. So it is focusing your attention on one particular thing. So now we're going to talk about how to make things better. So the aggregate amount of random ass screen time that you get exposed to is going to make you more ADD.
Yes.
So if you spend time doing other activities, you're literally giving your mind like time to operate in a particular way. So it's sort of like, if you spend a bunch of time walking, it's not going to make you better at swimming. But if you spend half of your time in the water and half of your time walking, your body's going to get good at both things.
That makes sense. That was good.
See,
I like that.
Look, yeah. So I don't know if you know this, Mizkif, but I tend to have very long and complicated sentences that people tend to have difficulty following.
Really? I like that. I thought that analogy, or I don't know what that is, but I like that. I thought that was good.
Yeah. So you're attending, right? So that's very good. So I want you to spend time, the dedicated amount of time every day, focusing on just like attending to one thing, right? So whether that's a conversation or whether that's this or whether that's that. And in terms of your girlfriend, if you want to, improve your relationship and not frustrate her, you guys both need to understand that, like, if you're outside at a grocery store, your capacity to attend to her is going to be decreased.
Yeah.
And so for you to even use some language like, hey, it sounds like what you're saying is important right now. Is it okay if we just like go to a place where I can really just listen to what you're saying and maybe sit in the car or something like that? Like, so you can delay those conversations. It's a weird thing to tell someone.
Yeah. I just feel bad.
Yeah. Why do you feel bad?
Because it just sounds, I feel so dumb that I have to say that to someone, like, hey, I can't talk to you right now because I can't like, we're just at a supermarket. I can't focus on what you're saying. But it's true. I know it's true because it happens. Like, we went to sushi, and I couldn't for the life of me focus on what she was doing because there was a birthday party going on behind her. There was like all this other stuff, people walking, people talking. It was raining, and I was nothing I could focus on. I couldn't focus on anything she was saying. I felt terrible. because that's where I felt so dumb. But maybe I need to just
So
tell her there's times where I can't focus on stuff because, like you said, there's pros and cons to my brain, and this is one of the cons that I have to deal with.
absolutely, right? So this is going to be hard, Mizkif, but you have to let yourself be where you are.
What does that mean?
Great question. So a lot of people are in a particular place, right? So like they have certain strengths and weaknesses, and they beat themselves up so much for being where they are that they don't like let themselves be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Being present, you mean?
Just not only being present, but like accepting that you suck at some stuff that other people find very easy and normal.
Oh, I'm fine with sucking at most shit. Like I actually, I don't mind it whatsoever being bad at a lot of things.
What bothers you so much about this?
I feel like I'm not living life. I feel like I'm not enjoying conversations as much. Like it bothers me that I could see people talking about stuff and I either A, am just not enjoying it, or B, I can't listen to them because I just don't care. Or I hate that I have a conversation with my mom and I just feel like 20 seconds into the conversation, I stop listening. And I just start saying, okay, yeah, blah, 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 giving generic answers. And then I'm not listening to the conversation because I'm thinking of 100 different things. What's wrong with it is I just feel like I'm not being present. And I want to be present more because
What do you hate about not being present?
I don't feel like I'm enjoying life. I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things by not being present because a lot of times I'll be doing this with my brain to try to make jokes and try to make people laugh or try to entertain, and I won't be here. And because I'm not there and everyone else is there, they're all enjoying themselves. When me, the only thing I'm doing the whole time is thinking of random stuff to make jokes and say stupid stuff. And I know there's a balance of it. I've been there before where my brain's like this constantly, but I've had a balance before where I was able to enjoy myself and focus at parties or focus with someone, but also still be funny. And I just want to try to get to that balance more because right now I feel like if there's like a middle, I'm sorry if these drawings are weird, but if there's like a middle where I want to be, and like this is like, over here is like really, you could like what's the water, and over here's air. I want to be more in the middle of water and air, or as close to as middle as I could possibly be.
Very good. So now let me ask you something, Mizkif. When you write, why is it easier for you to explain things?
I don't know. Because it's right there in front of me.
So I want you to notice something. When you're not writing and you're not focused on your keyboard, what is the speed of your thoughts? Can I see the other side where you have the different boxes?
Oh, yeah.
So how long does it take you to get from the bottom left box to the top right box?
In about one sentence of you talking.
Exactly. So when you're drawing something, is your mind focusing on one thought for a longer period of time? Is your mind moving slower?
Sorry, I spaced out. Can you say it again?
So when you're drawing something, is your mind moving faster or slower than the boxes?
Slower.
When you write, what is the speed of thoughts that you think compared to the thoughts that you write?
When I think, they're way faster. When I'm writing, it's way slower.
So now we understand. When you focus on a keyboard, what is the speed of your thoughts?
Slower.
So all you need to do is use certain techniques to slow down your mind. Mm-hmm. And the reason that writing helps our memory is because we literally sit on that thought for a longer period of time than thinking. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? If yes. I write out that H2O is water and water is a liquid, can be a liquid, gas, and solid, that sentence takes 2 seconds to think. It takes 2 seconds to say. But it also takes way longer to write. And if I write it, my mind is literally sitting on that thought for a greater amount of time. And the longer that we sit on a thought, the further in it sinks. So for you to be able to attend to conversations, all we need to teach you how to do, Mizkif, is to slow down the speed of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you've already discovered many things that slow down the speed of your mind. And the really cool thing, so just think about this for a second. When you slow down your mind, you're actually able to do the very things that you feel stupid for not doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do it. You just have to duplicate what you're doing right now.
Yeah. I still don't think I can do as much as you think I can do. Like,
yes.
I don't think I can go to school and get good grades like I could on Adderall. Like, it's just a different beast. Because I think there's things that I suck at, like school, on ADHD and with stuff like that. But I do think I can at least slow down my brain a little.
What makes you think I think you could succeed at school?
Maybe I was wrong.
So, Mizkif, I agree with you that I think that I have more faith in what you're capable of than you think you do. And I also think that school is going to be a very difficult environment for you.
Yeah.
But this is what I will say. I think you can be very successful without school. So school is for water people and fire people. It's for river people and, bonfire people. It's not for Vata people.
Yeah.
So the other thing, or certain kinds of school. So I think that there are other kinds of school that you could do, but like sitting if you had to come and listen to my lectures, you'd be screwed.
Yeah.
Actually, my lectures are pretty good. I'm pretty good about that. But, so, if you have to sit in a classroom and focus, that is not what your mind is designed for. I don't think you're going to ever excel in that scenario. Mm-hmm. But I think part of the advantage of understanding Vata is that in order to succeed in life, you don't have to be one of those people. The whole point of being Vata is to structure your life so that you succeed where water people or fire people would fail.
Like streaming.
Exactly. So I, for example, have 4 or 5 jobs. And what I found, so when I was failing out of college, I was a freshman in college playing a bunch of video games, also ran for student council, joined a bunch of clubs, joined a fraternity, took 2 different languages. So actually in my first year, I took Spanish, Japanese, and Mandarin. No, sorry, Spanish and Japanese, and then Mandarin in my second year. And then studied philosophy and was majoring in biology and all this kind of crap. My mind was all over the place and I just failed. Jesus. I had a 1.5 GPA. And so my dad comes to me and he says, oh, look, what you need to do is just focus on studies. Don't do any of the other stuff. So my second year, I dropped all the clubs, stayed in the fraternity, still played video games. What do you think happened to my GPA? Is I focused on
1.6.
Nope, 1.4.
Oh, nice. That's close.
Went even lower. And then what I said is man, fuck this. I'm not even going to take a full class load. I'm just going to take 2 classes. So my second semester of my sophomore year, I just took 2 classes and focused on those 2 classes even more. What do you think happened to my GPA? Did it go up or did it go down?
Were you still playing video games?
Yep.
Probably stayed around there.
Went down.
Oh, nice.
So the fewer things that I tried to do, the more I tried to make my life easy, the worse I did. So then I go to India and I talk to a buddy of mine who's an Ayurvedic physician and I tell him, this is what I've been struggling with. What do you think? And he started laughing. And I said, what's wrong? And he's like, that's a terrible idea for a Vata. If you want to be successful as a Vata, you don't focus on one thing. What you need to do is juggle as many balls as you can without dropping a single one. You need to when your mind gets bored of something, you need to have something else for it to move to. And then when you get bored of that, you need something else to move to. And when you get bored of that, you need to have something else to get bored. And by the time you get bored of the 4th thing, you can go back to the first one and it's interesting again. So if you're in school, Mizkif, you're screwed.
Yeah.
But if you're in school and you're streaming and you're learning how to cook, you're going to be capable of things that other people are going to think is actually superhuman. The water folks are like, how does he do it all? Because what you need is, because here's the cool thing about your mind, Mizkif, you feel dumb, but when your attention is actually focused, you probably feel brilliant. You get that, right?
Yeah, it feels good.
You're able to pick up concepts way faster than the average person. So all you need to do is, instead of just focusing on one thing, switch your mind and let it focus on different things, and then you will actually be able to move forward. The problem is that if you try to climb one mountain, you're going to fail. If you try to climb 4 mountains, you're going to succeed.
So, like, if I had to, like, because I swear I sound like a 2-year-old, but I don't know why. It just writing makes things easier. So you're saying I get bored easily, right?
Mhm.
So, and because I get bored easily, having numerous things is a good thing because it makes my brain better. So then, like, if I was to draw what you're saying, because I swear the drawings help me. Like Maya, my girlfriend, she read this book about ADHD and she drew like the stuff, and I look at it every night, and it's to teach me how to focus and try to be more present, because that's a huge thing I've been having a problem with for years, is try to be present. But what you're saying, so drawing just help. So what you're saying is like this, where it's like the first thing, and then if you don't like you keep going and juggling different things, and then you finally get to this one, and when you finally get bored with that, by the time this one will be interesting.
So the only thing that's wrong with that is that big arrow on the left side of the paper needs to be down instead of up. The arrowhead is in the wrong way. So you go from thing number... Yeah, so the arrowhead needs to be pointing down, not up.
So it goes back down.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking that it's never ending, that it's like constantly...
No, that's not what you want. If you go never ending, you're going to fail at all of them.
Why is that?
Right? Because you're never going to spend enough time on one.
Okay.
So what you need to do, like you don't, so you can, like what you want to do is come back to square one and then work on that. And then when you get bored of square one, go back to task 2 and then move to task 3 and then move to task 4. And then in order for you to complete any of those tasks, you've got to go back to task 1 again.
Yeah.
And then work on that for a while. And then when you get bored of that, go back to 2. And you want to move forward on all 4 of those things kind of simultaneously. But you need to create a life where your dynamic mind, instead of forcing it to do something that it doesn't want to do, you sort of like give it an opportunity to like thrive in the way that it normally functions.
So what do you think I should do?
So I mean, I don't know practically how you spend your days, but like I think streaming is good, but I would think about like other goals besides streaming that you work on.
I feel like this is probably deja vu for you, but I have a game that I'm working on as well. It's
good.
Yeah, because I've learned that I need to distract myself from streaming, because I think about it all day. That's all I think about is streaming and my job. And I'm trying to think of other things, like my YouTube channel. I don't know if that's a good one, but
yeah.
that.
So I'm not quite sure what your life is like and what you're working on. But like I would also think about, structuring your girlfriend into that. Right? So like make her a task in your mind that your mind can focus on for periods of time. So if you spend 5 hours with her, you're going to like lose attention.
Yes.
But if you spend like an hour with her, like you can probably do okay for an hour, and then you're going to get bored. And when you get bored, it doesn't mean that you don't care about her or things like that, and you're going to feel dumb. You need something to occupy your mind to move it to. So you essentially want to rotate the focus of your mind because it's naturally going to want to move.
Okay. So if I'm with her, I should I should try, or like it's really anyone. I mean, you don't have to just label just her, like anybody, because it's all my friends too. I should try to be in an environment that doesn't have any distractions, and if I am in an environment with distractions, I mean, I don't have to tell them like, hey, I'm, right now I can't focus, but try not to have more serious conversations at those places. Focus it more at places like my house, where if we're just in a room together. Okay.
So the cool thing about that is if you start to do that, what do you think is going to happen to the quality of your conversations?
They're going to go up.
And how is that going to make you feel?
More attentive, probably a lot better. Probably
what
more
does better
present.
mean? Sure, more present. How's that going to make you feel about yourself?
Smarter.
How does that feel?
That feels great because I feel so dumb.
So now, Mizkif, we get to an interesting question. If you feel smarter, Do you think that has any impact on your attention?
Yes, I would say.
How?
Well, I think a lot of things that come down to me is a lot of stuff when it comes to me is confidence, and I lack a lot of confidence right now in my attention and ability to be attentive. But I know when I'm more confident, I'm better. And I think that if these things align, if like these stars align, and I start working more towards better conversations with people and focusing, um, that I think I'll be more confident and I'll be able to, yeah.
Okay, so we got to understand that, right? So once again, Mizkif, the cool thing about this, you actually have all the answers. I think what I would like to help you do is understand the equations behind your observations. So how on earth does confidence make your mind less ADD? Like, how does that work?
Because I think when I have ADHD, this is gonna be maybe like a minute to figure it out, but I know the less confident I am, the more ADHD intensive I am. Because this is gonna sound bizarre, but when I'm more ADHD, when I'm less confident and I feel dumber, I look to ADHD more as like my way, because I try to just constantly think of, instead of like focusing on a conversation and enjoying it, I try to make jokes a lot, and I'll focus more on making jokes with my ADHD, which it'll make my ADHD do this times like 5. Because now I'm just, if I'm in full ADHD, I call it retard mode. So I'll go in retard mode and I'll start doing this times like 5, and I'll just start trying to make jokes constantly and get completely derailed from conversations.
Yes. So let's understand this. Why do you start making jokes when you don't feel confident?
I don't know.
Okay, not good enough, buddy. I'm gonna dig.
Keep going.
So how do you feel when you make a joke?
Euphoric. I love it. It's one of my favorite feelings ever is when I see people thinking I'm funny or enjoying entertainment.
So there's something within you that says, hey, Mizkif, now it's time to make a joke. We need to make a joke.
Yeah.
Right? And so what are you looking for in the joke?
What am I looking for?
By joking. Like something in your mind wants that, right?
A good feeling, like
yes.
a sense of approval.
Yes. Very good. Now, why do you need that sense of approval?
Because I lack confidence in other areas, and I want people to people to validate me.
Perfect. Right? So look at how fast you're answering this shit. Beautiful. 5 seconds ago, you said what?
I have ADHD, man. I don't remember.
You said, I don't know.
Oh. Yeah, I said I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
That sounds accurate. I usually do say that.
Yeah. And it turns out that you do know.
Yeah, it's validation.
So now, so what you're noticing is that you give in to the ADHD process and you actually support it.
Mm-hmm. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, you want that ADHD process, right? Because the ADHD process makes you feel how?
Euphoric, and makes you feel confident.
So what you're doing in that moment is actually like fertilizing and growing the ADHD neurons in your brain.
Yeah, I definitely know that it is. And I don't know if I like
So you're strengthening your ADHD to protect you from what feeling?
From feeling dumb, from feeling...
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good, right? So you feel dumb, but if you can make everyone laugh, no one notices that you're dumb, and you don't have to pay attention to the conversation because everyone's looking at your joke.
Yeah.
And everything is fun and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So in a bizarre way, if you become more confident, the fuel that you put into the ADHD gas tank starts to go down.
Yeah.
You don't need that part of you if you can feel confident in yourself.
So do you think that with streaming and with the lifestyle that I live, I've fueled that ADHD fire massively? Because I think I fueled it with multiple things. I feel like I fueled it with looking at socials all the time, Twitters and stuff like that. And then I've also fueled it a lot by giving into the ADHD process, because my stream is 6 hours a day. And then if I'm 6 hours trying to make jokes all the time, because it's my life, I'm fueling that ADHD fire because I'm I'm looking for validation through the ADHD process. So I'm feeling that fire massively with streaming and through also socials and 3 monitors and everything else that's going on in my life. So that's making that fire massive. And then that's why I feel dumber today than I did, like, let's say a few years ago.
I'm sorry, was that a question or was that a conclusion?
I guess that was a conclusion, but I was also drawing
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? So this is, Mizkif, what we call understanding.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of saying at the beginning, you said, I feel like I'm getting dumber and my ADHD is getting worse.
Mm.
And if I were to ask you, how does that work? You need to go back and watch the VOD of what you just said. Because that's how it works.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because absolutely. So you see that? Like you're actually, you need the ADHD. You rely on it.
Yeah. I do rely on it a
You're
lot.
growing it. You're feeding it.
Mm. But I don't want to just feed it.
Good. So this is where you got to meet yourself where you are. So right now it's big. It's going to take time for it to grow less weak. But the first thing that you need to do is understand, once again, that it comes with confidence. So there are 2 solutions here. One is to become more confident.
Yeah.
And the second is to be more tolerant of feeling stupid.
No, I'm yeah. I mean, I love feeling dumb. Like, I love when chat thinks I'm dumb or they, you know, I love being an idiot. Like, it's my job.
So I think that there are 2 kinds of idiot here, right? So now you have to really tunnel and pay attention to yourself, because I think there's the idiot that's funny, and then there's the feeling inside you that causes you to joke, that you try to get rid of by being funny and being an idiot on stream. Those are 2 different idiots.
Yeah, I would agree that there's 2 different idiots.
So one of them you're very comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because that's the mask, that's the ADHD idiot. What you're not comfortable with is the other one.
Yeah.
How do those feel different to you?
I think when I'm on stream, I don't feel as bad about feeling dumb because they're thinking it's funny and it's entertaining to them. But then when it's something, the other idiot is like talking to my mom, and how I feel like when I talk to her, sometimes I don't remember anything, and she's telling me, Matt, I told you this 5 seconds ago, like, why don't you remember? Or she's getting upset with me that I didn't remember a text message or any of those kind of things. So those are the 2 different idiots, I would say. Yep.
Very different. Very, very different, right? So it's good. So once again, English doesn't have really a great way to differentiate those. But I think you have this sort of deep set kind of like idiot complex that you try to run away from. So what we need to help you do, so one is we can help you be more confident by and this is going to be tricky because you're going to have to say things that are going to evoke that complex. When you tell your girlfriend, hey, I can't talk to you about this right now because we're in a grocery store, you're going to feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
It's going to bring that feeling up. So you got to be ready for it.
Yeah.
And then you got to say, what you're saying is actually really important to me. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to learn how to concentrate better.
Well, I don't want to lie to her.
Yeah. But so just tell her, like, this is like, so if the funny thing is that she, oftentimes when people talk to other people about their weaknesses, and I tell people, how can I say this? So if I'm like working with a patient and I kind of tell them, hey, like, I'm going to have to cancel today. I'm just not in the brain space to where I think that I can really like help you the way that you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think they feel?
If you did that to me, I'd feel like you didn't care. That's just me.
Okay.
I don't know. How would another person feel that
I didn't care about you?
Yeah, but that's just me. I would say upset. Yep. I don't think they'd be happy about it. They'd be like, lost, maybe.
I can see why you think that. As it turns out, it's actually the opposite.
You care. So I know it's the opposite. You care a lot, and you want to give as much attention as you possibly can, and you don't want them to waste their time.
Look at that Vata mind.
Yeah.
Look at you saying one thing and then being able to understand the exact opposite within the span of a second.
But
This is your
I don't think that's that hard to understand. Maybe I don't like. Do you think? I feel like anyone can understand that. No.
Yeah, so this is something that we tend to do, right? So most human beings, and this is true of everyone who is watching at home, we tend to devalue the things that we're good at and over amplify the things that we're bad at.
Yeah.
So you see how you do that?
Either
So
way.
that just reinforces the lack of confidence because you're not able to see that you're actually exceptional in some ways. All you see is your fuck ups.
Yeah.
And we're taught that from a very young age. You know when we're taught that?
5.
Yeah, right. So when we go to school and you get a 75 on a test, is that a good grade or a bad grade?
I would be jumping for joy if I got a 75.
What about the average person?
Probably a little upset.
Yeah, because we always look at the 25 questions we got wrong instead of the 75 questions we got right.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I think everyone does that. Is that like a human nature type of thing?
Sure, and it's reinforced by some of our societal stuff. So the cool thing, Mizkif, I think there's hope for you. And the reason I think there's hope for you is because I think you have learned and you have fueled and cultivated some of these negative patterns of viewing yourself in the way that your mind works. You know, you've done like bonsai sculpturing of your mind, and it grows in this weird twisted way that's like based on ADD. You fuel the ADD because it protects you from feeling stupid.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about that is that if you've grown it and cultivated it one way, you can actually cultivate and grow it the other way.
That'd be great.
You can do that, right? And it's going to be difficult because what you have to do is it starts with something as simple as a conversation, simple but hard, with your girlfriend that's going to make you feel dumb. But bizarrely enough, what she's going to hear is, oh, Mizkif is actually trying to like do right by this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, you know, if your girlfriend tells you that she's having difficulty with something and she wants to do a really good job, and can you give her some time and space to do that? How does that make you feel if she says something like that?
I'm okay with it.
Why don't you think she's dumb?
Because I guess you're right. Yeah, it shows that she cares, that she's more.
Absolutely.
They're more willing to care about like what's going on. So it's not bad. It's a good thing because they want to give you their full attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So, Mizkif, what if I told you? So, like, do you think what I do on stream is special?
I would say, of course, yeah. You're very unique.
Yeah. So, would it surprise you to learn that I think that what I do on stream is completely average and that anyone could do it?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say a lot of Redditors would probably say that they could do your job, but I think that they can't.
Yeah, but I feel that way, right? Because I also overvalue my weaknesses and I undervalue my strengths.
I think that's a very common thing with streamers, though, is we all do that. I think chat doesn't realize that, but streamers in general, we all undervalue ourselves massively, and we all think of ourselves less than what they think of us. Like, I really don't feel special, and I don't. I know people think I have this massive ego, but I don't feel special at all. I feel the opposite almost. I in some cases I wish I had more of an ego so that way I could be more confident. Does that make sense?
Yes, but it actually, I think you probably do have more of an ego because confidence and ego are opposites. They're not the same thing.
Is that maybe an English thing that I'm thinking it's different?
Yeah, well, I think English a lot of us don't understand how ego and confidence works because we don't explore it. But generally speaking, you know, the person who is more so think about someone who's egotistical and think about someone who's confident. Are those different people in your mind?
I can't really think of an example of someone that's confident, but I can think of a lot of people that are egotistical.
Yeah, but it's weird, right? Because you say, I can't think of someone who's confident. So your mind is automatically saying that the egotistical people are not confident.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for someone else.
True.
So actually, ego is a cover for insecurity. It's the armor against insecurity. And confidence, because the egotistical person, their view of themselves depends on themselves or other people.
Other people.
What about the confident person?
Themselves.
Absolutely different, right? Beautiful. So the confident person's sense of self-worth comes from within, and the egotistical's sense of self-worth comes from without. And if you are not confident, there is a high likelihood that you're egotistical. Because that's just how our mind protects us from insecurity. It's a protective mechanism.
So I do have a huge ego.
Possibly. I don't know. So I think you don't feel like you have a huge ego because you don't feel confidence in yourself. Right? So like the ego is what protects you when you're feeling down. So whether you have a huge ego or not, I can't really say. I'm not detecting much of an ego right now.
I mean, like, I feel like I used to have way more of an ego, and then I don't have it as much anymore. I did like a year ago. I had a huge ego.
Yeah.
Nowadays, not so much.
Were you feeling secure in yourself a year ago?
Yeah.
Really?
Way more. But I stopped feeling that way a lot more last year as I grew as a streamer, because I don't know if you know this, but I like doubled my view count overnight pretty much because I got banned or over a week. And in doing that, I got a lot of positive vibes and a lot of people that were, it was crazy. But a lot of people also shit on me, and then people started hating on me and getting sick of me, and I started getting hate, which is something I was never used to. And that hate, like what you just said before, with we tend to look at, we'll get someone will say something. What were you saying before? Is like we look at something and it's like, if the 75%, right? Like we look at the 25 that we got wrong. That's exactly how I, as a streamer, and a lot of other streamers look at the negative comments that we get. Is we look at the positive ones and we just glance right through them, but we'll see like one negative comment and it'll sit with me all night. And it slowly has deteriorated me, I think, as a streamer.
Absolutely, buddy.
Yeah.
That's just how we work, man. So you have to stop feeding those neurons, right? So like you have to acknowledge that, oh, this is my mind. Because what happens is the mind looks for confirmation of what it believes. That's just how the mind works. So if you believe that you're doing a bad job and you lack confidence in yourself, your mind is going to go towards the one or two things that support what it already believes. So I was once working with a patient who was convinced that their spouse was having an affair. And so they would do all kinds of weird mental gymnastics. They're like, yeah, they came home late one night. And so that's evidence that they're having an affair. They said that they were at work, but I tried calling their cell phone and it rang, but they usually don't get cell phone reception in their building. So I don't think that they were at work. They must have been at a hotel. And once you believe something, your mind is going to look for any way to kind of support that pre-existing belief.
Right. Yeah. That's very true. Like I will get, some people will, I've gotten comments before, people saying like, and this has definitely hurt my confidence, and I guess has made me create an ego, where I've gotten people saying like, oh man, like I miss old Mizkif, where he was just an idiot and was playing this game called Marbles. I don't know if you know what that is. And like, I would just sit there and play marbles all day and do that and just listen to music. And like, oh, I miss that Mizkif. And I would ban them, and I would think on that a lot, because I'm like, wow, like, have I really changed this much? As like over the course of just a year, have I really, as a streamer, become this like completely different beast, where nowadays my old viewers can't even recognize who I am. They don't even remember, like they can't even watch me because they just missed who I once was. But then they messaged me, and then I go in this huge trance where I just start thinking like, oh my God, they hate me. My old viewers fucking hate my guts. They think I'm a piece of shit. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like all my old viewers left. But then I'll message them, or they'll message me and they'll be like, yo, dude, I was just kidding. It was just a joke. I love your streams. I have no problem with who you are nowadays, and I like who you are, and I'm happy for you. But like what you said, we just go off in such a trance, and we look at one comment and just go off the wall.
So absolutely. So I think it's a really common problem. I'm glad that you notice it. And if it's okay with you, Mizkif, I want to go back to ADD.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So first of all, how long have we been talking?
I would guess 42 minutes.
Is that how long we've been talking? I don't know.
I don't know.
So how do you feel like your attention has been over the course of this conversation?
I feel it's crazy, like what I said. I mean, like I've wrote your notes and like I've been writing, but writing and then staring at the keyboard has helped me a lot. And it helps me understand like ego. I think of it as like just a circle and hollow, right? And then confidence I think of as, not a hollow circle, like a full circle.
Yeah.
And but just like
beautiful
writing these things
you understand
down
so much, man.
I feel like I don't feel like I'm like, I feel like anyone can get that, but
yeah,
I feel it's weird when I do this stuff with you and I really listen, and I've noticed that when I listen to people, like let's say I'm talking to one of my friends and I really am trying to pay attention to what they're saying, the wheels start turning and it makes my day better, because I feel like almost like these cogwheels that have, webs on them that haven't been being used are being turned, and it now makes me more focused throughout the entire day.
Yes, beautiful. Right? So this is why I have hope for you, because that too. So by the way, Mizkif, you're beautiful with imagery, because like ego is a shell. That's what it is. Right? And confidence. So what people say about ego versus confidence is that ego is iron on the outside and water on the inside. And confidence is water on the outside and iron on the inside. So, right? So like really hard exterior with like jelly in the middle. Whereas confidence, like you let stuff slide over you. You don't resist it, but on the inside, nothing can touch you.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a Chinese approach to ego and confidence.
How do I get more confidence back?
So I think you're already discovering, right? So you actually have the answer right there. So first of all, that attention and concentration is a skill that can be trained. So when you say I have cogwheels that are like covered in webs and aren't moving properly, absolutely. So when you train your attention, you can actually start the flow of that machine in a positive way. And all it takes is practice. Yeah. Because in the same way that sometimes you feed the ADHD, a conversation like this, a conversation with your girlfriend where you are attentive, actually levels up your concentration skill.
Is it weird that I don't know, I feel like right here. Is that normal? Like you feel it?
Yeah, that's your third eye, maybe. So as you understand things, I wouldn't be surprised if you feel things here.
Yeah.
Because this is where understanding comes from. Not information, but understanding. That's a conversation for a separate day. But I'm not surprised at all. So I want to just get to a couple of other points which I want to mention to you. The first is that your concentration will continue to improve until you're about 32.
Okay, so I'm not lost.
No, you're not. So your frontal lobes, which are responsible for things like impulse control, the focus of your attention, and executing long, complicated tasks, that's the difference between a 5-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 35-year-old. It's frontal lobe development. Delaying gratification, controlling your impulses. That's what we call, quote unquote, maturity. Right? So 5-year-old mind is all over the place. 15-year-old can concentrate on boobs, and every once in a while they can focus on their physics test. A 25-year-old can go to work most days and be like kind of stable, but still like on the weekends, like doesn't have quite their shit together. A 35-year-old does things like pay taxes and contribute to their IRA and 401k. That's maturity. That frontal lobe development ends around 32, but it's my hypothesis is that that is changing in our society, and that our frontal lobes actually have a delayed maturity because of the influences like Twitter and things like that. So you're going to get better at this just naturally. Like your brain is literally going to develop. Okay. Second thing is that if you reduce your vata, so control the influences that make your mind more wind-like, you will get better at this. So to spend time every day writing or concentrating on keyboards or like learning to do art or creating music or something like that, something that engages your attention. So we don't want you to like read textbooks on biochemistry. Yeah. We want you to do something that engages your attention more naturally over an extended period of time. So we've been talking for about an hour and 20 minutes, and it feels to you like 45 minutes. But your mind has actually been way more focused than I think like you give it credit for. You have not defaulted to making jokes and things like that.
Yeah.
Your ADHD has been more restrained. And so this is a skill that you can learn. Next thing is, how are your bowel movements?
Really?
Yes.
They feel like in general or during our conversation?
You have like more than one a day? You have a lot of bowel movements, or what's going on? Tell me about them. Constipated?
I was when I was younger. I used to have to take one of those things in your ass. I forgot what it was called.
Suppository?
Yeah, because I couldn't. I never.
Yep.
Shit. I think like at least once a day.
Okay. And you go at the same time every day?
No. At least I don't think so, no.
Okay. And are they like stinky? Are they like kind of like one log? Like, what is it like?
I would say it's not one log. It's like it's like 5 logs.
Pieces?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 twigs.
So are there times that, so what, like, are there certain things that you can eat that make it one log? I know it's a weird question.
I have no idea.
Okay. So there's a growing, so in Ayurveda, the way to reduce vata is through the bowels.
Really?
So you have to fix constipation and reduce gas production. So the crazy thing is that like Ayurveda has been saying that for thousands of years, but now there are actually studies on the brain-gut axis which show that everything from autism to depression and anxiety can be changed by changing your gut bacteria. They did a wild study where they did stool transplants from depressed mice. So they took mice that are depressed, so they can measure mice depression by like how much they play in their cage and how curious they are and things like that. They also have like a terrible test that they do to mice, which is they drop them in water and they see like how long the mouse fights before it gives up and like lets itself drown. And more depressed mice will give up more easily, and less depressed mice will fight for life. Okay? They don't actually let them drown. They pull them out when they give up. So the interesting thing is they took a group of not depressed mice and they took a group of depressed mice. They they took the stool of a depressed mouse, transplanted it into a non-depressed mouse, and the mouse became depressed. So there are some kinds of gut bacteria that are higher in people with anxiety disorders, and some kinds of gut bacteria that are lower in people with anxiety disorders. Least scientifically valid evidence. I work with some people at this place called the Lurie Center, which is like a center for autism at Mass General Hospital and Harvard Medical School. They do a lot of stuff on behavioral disturbance for people with autism. So sometimes people with autism get really behaviorally dysregulated and they get angry and they'll do head banging and stuff like that. That altering their diet and giving them other kinds of like iron and things like that and smoothing out their bowels actually reduces behavioral dysregulation in people with autism. Unpublished data, all clinical, so it's like anecdotal. But like when people come from all around the world to come to the Lurie Center when their kids have autism, and like this is what some of the clinicians there do. So your bowel movements need to be smoother. So you need to think about what foods will contribute to like big logs. Okay?
But do you know what foods would?
Yes. So high fiber foods, cooked foods. You want cooked vegetables. Things like sweet potatoes are ideal. Root vegetables are good for you. The other thing that you can do is you can order fenugreek seeds. Take about a teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, put them in water, like 3 to 4 ounces of water at night, and in the morning drink them on an empty stomach. Will reduce your vata. Okay? Make sure you talk to your doctor about all this stuff before you start it, but should be safe. The last thing So to think about Vata, there's some dietary things that you can do. You can focus and attend to your concentration. And I'm going to have to run in a minute, so I'll give you a chance for questions. Let me just see. Okay. I've got 6 minutes. So your frontal lobe is going to develop, right? So you can improve your constipation. Let me just think for a second. There are one or two things that, yeah. And the last thing is kind of coming back to this confidence point. So I want you to understand that the state of your mind emotionally is going to make you more vulnerable to the ADD thinking or less vulnerable to the ADD thinking.
What do you mean by that?
So when you feel less confident, remember, when you feel bad about yourself, the ADD is going to activate to be a joker and make you feel less bad.
Yeah.
So working on your confidence is going to be important, but working on your confidence is going to be tough because you have to admit the feelings of stupidity, right? You have to acknowledge those and face those. You're going to feel a little bit dumb when you tell your girlfriend, hey, I can't talk to you in a grocery store because my mind is weak.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really what it is, but you're going to have that feeling. You got to just acknowledge that feeling and then sort of try to tell her that, I really care about your relationship and I'm trying to work on this. And I want to practice listening to you. The cool thing is that as you level this skill up, your ability to talk to her in a grocery store is going to get better.
Yeah.
You just got to level up.
Mm-hmm. No, I have a lot of good stuff I'm happy with.
Yeah. Last thing is you got to meditate, buddy. So meditation is literally like doing push-ups for this part of your brain.
Okay.
There's a stream that I did that hopefully is on YouTube about dharana. Dharana is the Sanskrit word for concentration. But concentration and one-pointedness of the mind is a skill that you can develop. Some people are naturally better at it. Some people have more difficulty with it. But it's like literally something you can get better at.
Okay. Yeah, I've been told that meditating is going to the gym something good.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's not going to help. So you should go to the gym for other reasons.
Yeah.
There are whole other things that we haven't gotten to about the way that your mind works and how ADD works and stuff like that. So the other thing, anyway, so we can maybe have a follow-up, but there are other points on my talking list that I just haven't gotten around to.
Okay. No, I would love to, yeah.
Questions, thoughts?
From the chat or from me?
Anyone, everyone.
Oh. I think I really got a lot. Like, I'm actually ridiculously happy. I went in here, I didn't know if you were going to be able to help me at all. But what I've learned a lot, and I wrote it down because it helps me, is that I try to validate, like I give into my ADHD process all the time because it validates me and makes me feel better. But by giving into the ADHD process, it makes this go haywire, which is it's fueling my fire of ADHD. It's making my, what is it called when I'm like the gust of wind?
Vata.
Vata. It makes me go, it makes that times 5 into like a crazy storm because I'm fueling that fire massively. I'm making it worse. And I shouldn't do that. I need to learn slowly to focus over time, to have good conversations, to understand people. And I need to also understand that there's an idiot that's funny, and then there's the idiot that doesn't remember things. And the idiot that's funny is fine, but I need to learn to talk to people, to understand people, to grow less of an ego and have more confidence in myself. So that way, because confidence is less ADHD intensive, and an ego is just me increasing this because it's just fueling my fire.
So, can we get a fucking round of applause? Because you just tied it. Just think about all of the different directions you just wove together in like 90 seconds. Confidence, what you're fueling.
Yeah.
So many different things. Why you do it. You just, beautiful, man. Beautiful. Watch that. Like, you guys get that? Like, that is a better summary than I could put together. Sounds like someone was fucking paying attention.
Yeah.
Good job.
I know I could do it. I don't know. I just have a lot. Like I said, I have low confidence that I can pay attention anymore. But I think from
Good.
this, I learned that I can. There's different. I know I can. It's not I think I can. I know I can. It's just I need to. There's different states and there's different ways to focus. Like staring at one thing does help. Trying to have as less distractions as possible. I think meditating. I'm gonna try to read. Or something.
So I want to give you a particular practice on meditation. So
Okay.
I my parking meter is about to run out, and I'm in Boston where they like give us tickets, and I've got 37 seconds.
Okay.
So I want to teach you this though. Okay. So I want to just leave you with this. So sit up straight. Close your eyes. Tell me what you felt in your forehead.
It felt tingly.
Okay. I want you to put your middle finger like a millimeter away from where it felt tingly. Don't touch. Good. Just, and keep it there. Right? So middle finger right here.
Here.
Good. Yep. Just focus on the sensation. Do you feel tingling or warmth?
Mm-hmm.
Just focus on that. Now let your arm come down. Relax. Keep your eyes closed. And just continue to focus on that spot. Focus on the tingly sensation. Thoughts may come, so be it. Your mind may wander, but just return to that tingly sensation. And now I want you to drive your attention into it. I want you to imagine your attention like going into a funnel, and it kind of starts like in your head, and then it focuses down and like comes to a point and then is pushing out of your forehead. And that's that tingliness that you feel. That's your attention kind of flowing into that. Does that make sense?
No, but I feel the tingliness.
Okay, so then just focus on the tingliness. Good. Now open your eyes. How was that?
Cool. I mean, my brain was going crazy closing my eyes. Like I was thinking of chicken nuggets, eating like McDonald's. Like I mean, I'll tell you, it was just like Mario Kart, Yoshi, chicken nuggets, winter. It was just random stuff.
So now what we need to do is I want you to practice a half-lidded gaze. Okay. So I'll teach you one more thing. So you shouldn't do meditation with your eyes closed. So the half-lidded gaze is kind of just kind of zone out and stare at. So there's a picture somewhere. So look at one of your pictures. Okay, so sit up straight. Half-lidded gaze. Focus on the tingling. Is your mind has less thought or about the same?
Oh, way less.
Good. So you need to do half eye open meditation, half lidded gaze. Very good. You can come back.
Is that because I'm focusing on one object like I do on my keyboard?
Yes. So you need dharana. Ideally, I could teach you trataka, but so we're gonna have to think about that. But I want you to focus on that tingling sensation and gaze at something.
Okay.
Okay.
That works. I could do that.
Thoughts or questions before we wrap up?
How long do I do that for?
How long do you think?
Like as long as I can, 15 minutes.
15 minutes is gonna be a lot. I'd start with 3 to 5.
3 to 5 minutes.
But yeah, don't beat yourself up.
Do I do it like once a day?
What do you think?
Whenever I want.
What do you think about that?
I think it's good to meditate whenever you possibly can. So I could do this kind of on the road then, right? If I could just stare at something and then just focus on that middle. I could
Yeah,
really
so
just
be
whatever.
careful if you're driving.
Yeah.
So I think that you have to balance your vata, which is that you want to do it at random times, versus recognize that if you do it at random times, you're also feeding vata.
Okay, so I should do it in an area where it's calm, secluded.
Calm, and also you should try to build consistency. But it's better that you do it every day as opposed to like not doing it, like I would try to build some consistency in your practice. So if you have any anchor in your day, like if you wake up in the morning and then like if you go for a walk or like take a piss or something like that, you're in Austin, so go outside, and especially at dawn or dusk would be ideal. Like you pick an object that's outside, like a tree, you do half-lidded gaze towards the tree.
Okay, I could do that.
Okay. Any last thoughts or questions before you wrap up for the day?
If chat has anything, I'm happy with it. I learned a lot. I feel really good. If I don't know if it's possible, can we do this next week?
I don't know about next week, but we'll
weeks?
definitely like message you and we'll set up a time.
Yeah, because I would love to do this again.
Yeah. Let me see if we can do it next week, okay?
Yeah.
All right, man. Strong work. Good luck. And just because you feel that idiot doesn't mean that you need to give in to him.
I won't. I'll try to do it less. I'll do these things.
Okay. Awesome, man. Strong work.
I feel happy.
Good.
Good. I'm glad.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's
Take
weird.
care, man.
Later. Hey. How was it? It's tough, chat. Good job. Thanks. Enjoyed it? Yeah, it's hard. ADHD is not easy. I mean, it's not fucking easy. It's something that I feel like can make you, because it definitely made me to the streamer I am today, but it definitely can fuck you pretty fucking bad. And I think over the course of the past 2 or 3 years, I've let it just take over. And like what he said, I really feel that I've used it so much to get validation when I shouldn't do that. You did a lot better than I expected. All right, shut up. You're starting to sound like Maya.